right ahead.
Okay.
I'm good.
Yes, sir. Apologies to the jury. It took a little bit longer than I thought. I thought it was about 25 pages, actually 41 pages. So it's about 700 pages that it had to copy, so that's why it took a little longer. Mr. Perry, you may proceed.
Let's go back to that first page real quick for a second.
Yes, sir.
When you receive these, you have at the top, or receive these from whomever provides them for you. And once again, who provides this type of document to you for the analysis? Does it come from another agency or entity within the Memphis Police Department, or how do you receive this report?
No, sir. In 2010 is when they obtained the raw data from the cell carrier.
I got you.
Then I was provided that as part of a case packet or an investigation packet. That data was presented to us or given to me. It comes from the cell phone carrier in an Excel document. We would then take the Excel document and we would ingest that or upload it into our software tool, which is Pinlink. And where this report was generated was from Pinlink. So what we're looking at here is what was ingested into the software, and then the software, they printed out a copy of this report.
And if you'll go through the columns with me, the target, that tells you the number of the person who you're trying to inquire about.
Yes, sir. That would be so we got the records from Mr. Turner, which is the 901-239-3322. So in our system, when we ingest it, we create a case, we then we auto-load the records in. Doing that, it generates the target, because that's our target number. That's whose records we're basing this report off.
And what's the next column?
So it's direction. So that would be if the call is incoming or outgoing. So an incoming call would be someone calling Mr. Turner. An outgoing call would be Mr. Turner calling someone else.
And the call status completed, what does that mean?
So that just means that a call was made. It doesn't necessarily mean it was answered or not answered. It just means that a voice call was transmitted through their network.
And like you said yesterday, sometimes they're under 45 seconds being a marking point, but that's just what you all use. It could be actually a little bit more or less if it's an unanswered call. In other words, you call me and my phone is on silent, I don't know it, or what have you, that you call, it could be a minute and a half before I know that you actually called. But something longer than that indicates that we're talking and having a conversation.
Yes, sir. It could go both ways. I could call you and we could talk for less than 30 seconds. We don't need to talk long. Or I could call you and you don't answer it. That's just an indication of the duration of the call. The standard that we use in training is anything less than 45 seconds is typically not an answered call.
Now, the duration, of course, is what you just kind of described. The beginning location, is that different sectors, et cetera?
No, sir. The way this report's reading, so this is not the raw data. This is something that I didn't actually create this report. So the way this report was created is it's telling you the tower information. So that's the tower number that they're referring to.
Okay.
And so that's what it's referring to.
And based on your experience, 106 is where?
We'd have to pull it up, but it's going to be it's in Memphis. I believe 106 is actually going to be the tower that's actually close to the homicide scene, if I recall.
Right. And that's coming from a rural Hampton, correct?
That shows that if we're looking at line number 2, is that what you're referring to?
Correct.
So yes, sir. Under dialed name. So to describe to the jury though, we don't get the names from the raw data. We just get cell phone numbers. So those numbers have to be researched. They have to be put through either police databases and researched. They have to be actually do a separate warrant or court order to reach out and get the subscriber information for that number. So that information is put in by an investigator who researched that phone number and then added that as the dialed name in the system. So That, in the system, yes, sir, that shows is that name.
All right. And once you come down, down halfway down the page, you see that name again. Well, more than, I guess that's 3/4 of the way down.
At 1214?
At 1214, and then you have it at 1215 also, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
Right. And it seems like the numbers of the duration of call almost seems identical. It's 308 and then 304, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And that's from a sector 106?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right. Let's turn a few pages. Let's get the second page into the third page. You see that name again?
Yes, sir, we do.
All right. And what column do you see that name in? Or what row? Would you say that's the third row?
I would refer to date and time. You have the date of July 5th, 2010 at 22:24.
Is that called incoming?
At 22:24, yes, sir, it's an incoming call.
And look at the time. What time is that?
That one's at 10:24.
All right.
22:24 hours.
Now, there's another call that's at 22. What from that?
The one below it?
Yes.
Sir, it's at 22:25.
All right. And then what's the duration of the call above it? 32 seconds.
Yes, sir, it is.
And then the one below it is 28 seconds.
Yes, sir, it is.
Now, does that not seem to be working simultaneously?
Yes, sir, I see where you're going. I mean, there's a 2-second gap. Is that what you're referring to?
Of a call coming
of
from
the
the same
overlay?
number,
Yes,
right?
sir.
All right. Let's go down mid-page. Now, let's say Merrill Hampton again, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me, that number is coming, what time is that call going into Billy?
The two incoming calls are, you have duplicate records there, it would appear, based on the fact that they're at the exact same time.
And it's that, what sector are they coming from?
It's again, the 106. The first one actually, sir, comes from the 249, and the second one comes from 106.
Now, you got calls coming in at the same time from two different sectors, right?
Yes, sir.
And,
That's what
but
that
you weren't,
shows.
now, let me say this, you were working dope cases back then, right?
Yes, sir, I was working narcotics.
So I know this would have jumped off the page at you because you are an expert. Now, but it wasn't your fault not going deeper into this back then, right?
I wasn't asked to do that in
to do it.
2010, no,
All
sir.
right, let's turn the pages up. Let's go one page. Turn it over, because they're not numbered, and I apologize, but this is the record that we're getting to me. Or we just give only one page. Let's go down again. You see the row numbers, I think about 7 or 8 rows down.
What date and time are we referring to?
We're talking about, I think, 7/6/2010, military time 22/14, 10/14 or so. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Go 2, 4, 6. I got it. Not counting it quite right, but I think it's 8 or 9 down.
Yes, sir. I see the call at 22:14 hours.
All right. And then you have one at 22:15, right?
Yes, sir, we do.
Same duration, but those are from the same sector this time, correct?
Yes, sir, they are.
All right. Now let's turn to the next page. You have let's go to July 7th, 2010, down to 2041-04 and 2041-04 once again. See where we are?
Yes, sir, I do.
Everybody following on? All right. Can you read that time for me?
Yes, sir. Again, it's a duplicate call showing at 20:41 and 04 hours.
All right. Now, each one that we've read thus far, and if you don't agree, you can look at different pages, but they seem to be incoming to Billy, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's go over a page to 7/8/2010. Looks like midnight on the 8th of July. Now, there only appears to be one call that time, correct?
Yes, sir. There's an incoming at 00:09 hours.
All right. And that's from what sector?
It's the same tower, sir.
All right. And let's go down to where it's 12:09. That's midday, correct?
Yes, sir. It is.
And there's a call at 12:09:57 for 35 seconds. I mean, it's unanswered, right?
It just shows the duration of 35 seconds. Yes, sir.
And then one for 33 seconds,
Yes,
right?
sir.
All right. And then if you go down again a few lines, what time is the next call from Merle Hampton? Do you see that?
Talking about 7/8 at 19:01.
Yes.
Yes, sir. There's a call at 19:01.
And what time would that be? Regular time?
7:01 p.m.
Okay. And that call also was not answered, correct?
It just shows a duration of 43 seconds. I can't testify if it was answered or not.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
So you got two calls that same way. One is 43 seconds, one is 14 seconds, correct?
Yes, sir.
Then we go down a line, skip a line. Merle Hampton, again, what time is that?
This is an outgoing call at you're talking about the 19:04, or were you going
Correct.
down?
The 19:04.
19:04, it's an outgoing call for 48 seconds.
All right, and there's another one, right?
Yes, sir, there is another one. Again, it's showing you duplicate calls.
I got you. Now we go down to the next page. Turn the next page over, please. Now you see another incoming, correct? At 7/09/2010 at 09:26.
Yes, sir, we do.
34. It's like 9 in the morning.
Yes, sir.
And that one is a 36-second call, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
And then next to that is an actual outgoing for 4 minutes and 7 seconds. All right?
Okay, hold on. You're talking about 9:26?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
No, I think it's 10:20:48.
So 10:20:48, yes, sir. There's a duplicate call again that shows 4 minutes and 7 seconds.
Did you look at any of Jimmy Martin's records or statements, or hear any of his statements at all?
The statements? No,
Yes.
sir.
Any recordings?
I heard some of his recordings from 2012,
Okay.
just during the course of the investigation.
During the course of it, from your recollection, do you remember him talking about coming to Memphis and Sherra giving him Billy's car?
No, sir, I do not.
You don't remember any of that?
No, I was not part of all that.
I got you. Let's turn again. And we go to 7/9/2010. You see there's another 29-second call and then a 26-second call during a 10 o'clock hour, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, since the jury will have the benefit of looking at this later, let's jump to the night in question, or to the day in question, 7/18/2010. All right. At 14:03. What time is 14:03?
Could be 2:03 in the afternoon.
All right. You have an incoming call. You see that?
Yes, sir, I do.
And that incoming call is at what time from Edna J? And let's go above Merle Hampton. Edna J. Do you know who Edna J is supposed to be?
I know based on the phone information that Sherra Wright had Jimmy Martin's name and her phone is Edna J.
All right.
So, yes, sir.
Okay. Edna J. Calls Billy. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's what the record showed.
Now, this time, when Billy, I guess, returned called or tried to call or what have you, the next line, the outgoing call, where does it end up answered?
It's an outgoing call to the 901-515-7714, which they have listed here as the Morel Hampton.
All right, Morel Hampton, and that call actually lasts for how long?
The one after it lasts for 6 minutes and 26 seconds.
Now, do you see the sector on that?
Shows Tower 109.
And that would be in the Memphis area, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so we know at 101 or at that 1403 hour, 101 is where?
I'd have to look at the, I don't recall it.
You-
I'm sure it's in Memphis. I'd
It's
have
in
to
the
look.
Memphis area.
Yes, sir. I would have to say it's in the Memphis area.
Right. And then when Billy responds to the call, it still gets answered in the Memphis sector, 109, right? Right below it.
Yes,
For
sir.
6 minutes, it's a conversation. Correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then we go down on that same day, 7/18. This is the daytime before Mr. Wright is killed, right?
Yes, sir, it is the day before.
You got a number of calls that are going to Billy from Edna J, correct?
There's calls listed at 16:53 hours for Edna J. There's a call at 16:55. Yes, sir, there's several calls.
And those sectors are Memphis sectors,
They're Memphis Towers, yes, sir. That's how I would refer to them.
all right? Now, let's go a page over. At 7:19, you have 2 incoming calls. If you go to you have 3 in a row, right?
Yep.
One is from Batesville, correct?
Just Batesville payphone.
All right, and I'm pretty sure the Batesville payphone doesn't have a chip or anything in it. Straight payphone back in 2010. I don't see any payphones much now, but
I would assume that, yes, sir.
all right. And that seems to be a 31-second call, correct?
You're talking at 7:19 and 002 hours?
Correct. Is that 12:02 in the morning?
Yes, sir, it is.
And
It's a
you-
31-second call.
Okay. And then you have another call. What's the next time that's listed on the line below?
It's 001215, that one? That's one you're referring to?
Right.
Edna J? Yes, sir.
And then you have another call from this Merle Hampton number, correct?
Yes, sir. 14
And that's it.
minutes after midnight.
That's how many minutes?
14 minutes after midnight.
All right. Now, you said you didn't listen to Jimmy Martin's information previously, correct? You didn't listen to it or remember it, or did you listen to it?
It was played, I mean, during the investigation, we listened to it, but it was not something that I was asked to analyze or look at or go to and write a report on, no, sir. I don't know all the exact details of what was said in the interview.
Back in those days, in the 2010s, or even in the 2012, you weren't doing the forensic analysis, correct?
In 2010, I was
Yes.
I was assigned to the undercover unit. And I would do, at the undercover unit, I did cell phone records, and also I was more of an analyst for them.
Now, if you did cell phone records and things like that in the past, and you know some of this stuff you got interested in back when you were doing that with the undercover unit, you knew back then people would change cell phones and chips and things like that all the time, right?
People can, yes, sir.
And did you know that Edna J., while he's talking to Memphis Police Department, indicates that back in the day when he got caught in his first murder, we called the phone. So I knew about phones, is what he said. That's a person that knows phone technology, according to him. Would you not say that?
Your Honor, I don't think this is the appropriate witness for this question.
I'll strike
Back to the hearsay and everything else.
All right.
And he cannot testify to what another person might think was error. I'll sustain the objection.
Yes, sir.
you're an expert, right? So I'll do hypothetical. You talked before about whether or not Mr. Hagerman or I were in, if Hagerman was in my restaurant in Batesville, right? Remember that?
Yes, sir.
And I gave him my phone chip, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now let's make it even more complicated. Let's say that I, in planning to do a murder, tell you, my other buddy, hey man, call this number from this cell phone for me, because he ain't answering. You calling from Batesville, right?
You're asking me if I'm calling for Batesville?
I mean, I'm just saying, if I ask you to call a number for me in Batesville, you could call a number for me in Batesville, and I'd be sitting dead square in the middle of Memphis, can you not?
We only can testify to the records. The records, if you're referring to Mr. Martin, have that the phone itself, the device, connected to towers in Batesville. As far as who's on the other end of that device, I can't testify to that.
Right, and you also can't testify who's in the field killing Lorenzen Wright in Memphis, can you?
No, sir, I cannot.
All right, and as it relates back to Batesville, what I'm saying is, in your record, you made mention of there being a call from a Batesville payphone. I thought, if you didn't, I'll move on.
Oh, no, sir, I didn't.
All right, and you're not saying that because that phone call was made from a payphone in Batesville, that this man or woman or whomever would have made it would have in fact been Jimmy Martin. You're not saying that, are you?
No, sir, I can't. I can't testify to that.
And because his phone is moving up a highway to Sardis or comes to rest in Sardis, you're not saying that Jimmy Martin is holding that phone in Sardis, are you?
I can't testify to that, no, sir.
And you never at any point in time did any kind of research or made note or even mentioned Merle Hampton and the calls from Merle Hampton yesterday, did you?
No, sir.
In fact, we're going to get into your report in a moment. Merle Hampton pops out in the middle of your report, doesn't it?
Yeah, the name's in there.
Right.
Yes, sir.
What about Augusto Julioso or something along those lines? It was a name, Augusto. It's stuck out. I like the name. I don't have it in front of me right now.
Yes.
But did you do research on the phone, that phone number?
No, sir, I did not.
Now, if you didn't listen to the tape, you wouldn't know this. So, how many people were questioned regarding this case? Do you know?
I do not know.
Jack, this isn't the appropriate way.
I can. May I respond, Your Honor? I can respond to an objection.
If it's within his knowledge, you may certainly ask the question, Mr. Perry, but he's tendered as an expert in phone records and cell phone extrapolations and the investigation as to who may have been questioned, how many people may have been investigated. I don't know if he knows the answer. If he knows the answer, he may certainly answer it, but I think he started to say he didn't know.
I got you.
Yes, sir.
On the report and the information from 2010, you said that you could have, if you were working back in 2010, made a request for the extrapolation data from different places, right? Including Walnut, the lake in Walnut. Did you have any information to go by in 2016 regarding any phones bouncing off of that particular tower?
No, sir.
Did you, based on your report from 2016, have any data regarding any other addresses that Billy Turner would have been in on the night of July 18, 2010?
No.
Yesterday, when you were testifying, you turned and said Billy Martin was at Sherra's house. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
And you're not basing that on information provided to you from anybody at the DA's office or the police department, any kind of calls that you've heard where Sherra is talking to Billy in her house, right? You don't have any videos of Billy walking around the backyard or anything like that, do you?
No, sir, I do not.
You have a photo of Billy being in that house.
No, sir, I do not.
So you don't know, in fact, whether or not Billy was in that house at all, do you?
No, sir, I can only testify that what the records indicate.
We're going to get into that in a minute, but you don't have any data whatsoever that you, as an expert, can rely on when you made the statement, Billy's in Sherra's house. That's not a statement that you can testify to, right?
Correct.
All right. And so you don't know that, in other words.
Oh, no, sir. We can place the device in that area.
Right. How many houses are in that area?
I don't know the number. It's a neighborhood.
100, 200 houses, you think? Probably in that area.
It's be several.
All right. So Do you know how many, and I'm not talking about necessarily on July 18th, but you testified also about houses in that particular sector and a July 21st time frame where Edmonds J's number appears to be in a sector in Collierville, right?
Yes, sir.
And do you realize, as a part of your investigation, do you know that Billy Turner was operating a lawn service during that time?
I'd heard that, yes, sir.
And having known that, and knowing that Sherra lived in a neighborhood, if it's 1 o'clock in the daytime, Billy could be at a number of houses in that neighborhood, right?
I can't testify to that.
Can you testify where Billy grew up?
No, sir.
Can you testify about a neighborhood called Starlight?
No, sir.
Can you testify about the neighborhood that was east of that sector that Sherra's house was at the bottom of, that seemed to be, I think, at the intersection of where 72, but below Poplar. Poplar is hitting to it some point. But in that neighborhood in Collierville that you drew the second sector in the eastern portion of that, do you remember, did you do any information regarding that neighborhood?
No, sir, I was not asked to do that.
I think it's a trick question now. Pause.
Jurors, this need break. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, court's instruction not discuss the case with anyone or amongst yourselves. We'll take a recess for a few minutes, let me know when you're ready to resume, and you can follow Deputy Smith, please. Step down from the witness stand. You will not discuss your testimony with anyone on the break, and we'll resume it shortly, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. For the record, this question in front of the jury was in need of a break, Mr. Smith. So this court will stand in recess for a few minutes. Clear the courtroom, please.